Hi, everyone. We're really excited to be here today. This session is about empty space, and we're going to be talking a bit about some of the big changes we're bringing to the Monzo app structure. My name is Bruno. I'm a product manager. This is Beth, a designer.
Hi.
We both work in the product platform team, and this is a team that for the past 3 to 4 months has been working really hard to get some of these changes out to all of you. We'll start this by going through why we're doing this now, and then Beth is going to walk us through all of the design thinking and some of the new designs for the Monzo app. And then we'll just wrap it up by looking at what has been the process we've taken so far. So we launched Monzo roughly 4 years ago, the prepaid app. And at the time, it was an incredibly simple product. It had a hot coral card that worked really well most of the time. It had an app balance that was always up to date. You had instant notifications, a beautiful feed, amazing customer support, and all of these things that you just know that Monzo has. At that time, we only had a handful of customers, and life was great. But fast forward to today, and we have over 2 million customers using Monzo. We have nearly 1,000 people working at Monzo, with hundreds of them working directly on the product. So the product has seen tremendous complexity increase over the years. And the challenge of this is we are still using the same fundamental structure that we had 2 or 3 years ago. And the structure was not designed for all of the complexity that we brought to the Monzo app over the past few years. And in a way, it's great that we've tremendously improved the product, but some things don't feel right anymore. And when we ask our customers what we should build next, sometimes they say, oh, like, what about joint accounts or pots with interest? And we're like, this is so annoying because we already built these things and we think they're great experiences for customers. So we really want customers to experience this. So what we'll be doing is to take some of these pieces that have been stacked over time on top of each other. They don't necessarily feel like they fit where they are living right now. And we'll rearrange them to build a more solid foundation, something that looks more like the screen on the right. What we want to do is to deliver an app structure that if you started using it today, with the features that we already have, it would feel so much more natural. Everything would seem that it just fits where it's been moved to. And the app would become easier to use, and you'd be able to discover more of the features that we already have. But we're also doing this with a focus on the future scalability of the company and what the new features are that we're going to be building. So we're focusing heavily on this concept of the empty spaces that we're talking about today. The spaces that we want to open up across the entire product so that other teams at Monzo can take advantage of. And also to figure out what are the right product abstractions for other teams to interact with our customers through our product. So we do this because we want customers to discover the value of Monzo as fast as possible. We want them to start using Monzo as a simple spending card, as most of us started doing when you just get your card and you put a few $100 on it. But over time, we want customers to really discover the features that are most critical for the company. We do this because this is the biggest impact we can have on the business as a team. Things like moving your salary to Monzo, paying your bills off your current account, opening up a joint account with your partner through Monzo, using Monzo as your lending provider instead of going to the high street for overdrafts, loans, or even remortgaging. We have all of these things. Monzo Plus is another great example. These are all things that we're not thinking about as just features that we move to a different box and just make a bigger button to drive adoption. We're thinking about these as spaces we need to deliver so that it can elevate the entire product experience, so that if you move your salary to Monzo, all of your Monzo experience becomes better. If you sign up for Plus, your entire product experience increases. And we want to make sure that customers that have just signed up for Monzo and they're still using Monzo as their spending card can understand that these things exist, and that the more they bring their finances into Monzo, the better the product performs for them. So now I'm going to hand over to Beth that will walk us through some of these new components and how other teams can use the new empty spaces.
Great. Thanks, Bruno. So everyone, imagine with me, if you will, that this is Monzo. So far, we've been really great at doing things like allowing you to see your daily spending, giving you a little cha-ching whenever you buy something, and providing really great customer service for people. But we're aware that there's more to your financial life outside of Monzo. You might have a current account with a different bank or a savings account. You might have mortgages or student loans or pensions and investments. The list just goes on and on. And what we really want is for Monzo to be the center of your financial life, one financial hub where you can look over and see a bird's eye view of all of your different finances. And one of the challenges in a design for this is we want something that's robust enough to support all of the complexity that comes with having all of these different accounts in one place, but also something that's simple and easy to use and still supports those customers that might just want to use this as they've been so far, using it as a prepaid account where you can keep a good eye on all of your daily spending. And we love those people, and we want that to work for them as well. So, and thinking about a design for this, we've been thinking a lot about photos. We're going to go on a little detour here from finances and think about photography, which might sound a bit strange, but bear with me. So we take a lot of photos. We take over 657 billion photos per year. Humans today, in 2 seconds, take more photos than all of the photos that existed 150 years ago. That's a lot of photos. And that's a big challenge for photography apps to tackle. And I think they do a pretty good job. You can zoom in on one photo that you took today and really look at the detail of that, but then zoom out and see the photos that you took a week ago or a month ago or a year ago, and pretty easily navigate to a photo that you might have taken a couple of years ago, and then zoom in on that again and look at the detail, and then come back out again and come back to today. So we started thinking, how could this apply to your finances? And we started thinking about albums as an aggregated view where you can zoom out and see all of your photos. But then you've got accounts and pots and loans where you want to go more into the detail and see payments or transactions. So it could look something like this, where you've got the photo view, which is more detail, where you can see your Monzo card and you can see all of your transactions and your balance. But you can also see this album view, this aggregated view, where you see all of your different accounts. And it's really important to us that this is really easy to transition between these two different places, that you can just easily swipe through and see your different accounts and then see all of your different accounts in one place. And we think that that's a key point of this experience, and it's something we really want to bring to life. So this is a look at the new design. We've got your balance right here at the top. We've got your card and all of your transactions. And if you pull down on this drawer, then you can see things like what you've got left to spend this month. You can take the normal actions like freezing your card or adding money to the card, and you can see more information about your account. And for some people, that might be all they want to use Monzo for, and that's fine. But for other people, we have something peeking out at the side, and that's things like savings pots, where you could start putting aside money for a holiday, or maybe you're starting to save up for a home deposit, or more likely a flat deposit.
Oh, bicycle, yeah.
You can start putting aside money for that. You might have a loan or a joint account or a credit card, and we want to be able to be a place where you can keep all of those and easily swipe through those different accounts. But then you can also go to this album view where you can easily navigate through these different accounts and get more of that bird's eye view where you see, okay, this is how much money I have in my current account and in my loan, things like that. And also that's where your profile can be. But then you can easily tap back and see your current account again. And we think, that's going to be, oh gosh, I've gotten all lost. We think that's going to be a really great experience. So one of the other things that we want to talk about is how we discover features that we have in Monzo. This is another really big challenge in the new design. So if we have a look at how we talk about features right now, we use the feed a lot. So right now we see a switch to energy supplier is right there. But if you go on a spending spree, it quickly is gone and it's not there anymore, and we've missed you. So what we really need to do is create spaces in this new navigation so that we can talk about all of the great services that we offer at Monzo. So the way we've been thinking about that is visual loudness, We have a level 1, which is what we've already done a lot of, which is something that's really safe to talk to lots of users about, and we want to maintain that in different ways in this new design. But we also might want to do something like a level 2, which is a bit more like, hello. And that's something that's a bit louder, where we know somebody's probably going to be interested in something like switching their energy, and we can target them and be a little bit more vocal about what we're doing. Or a level 3, which is a little bit really in your face, like, pay attention to me. And we think that we can do that, all of that with this new design. So let me give you some examples. This could be an example of a volume 1. An empty space that is really great to use is when people first come to Monzo. They haven't spent any money yet, possibly. There's no transactions. And we can use this space to talk about some of the different features that we have available. So you might see there's a little blue thing sticking out on the side. That could, maybe there's an animation there, something to grab people's attention, or we have this welcome to Monzo message people can tap. And that could take them to a place where you see different features that we have available. You could see easy access savings pots, or getting a loan with Monzo. And then this is a permanent place where those could live over here on this album view, so that as you do get these features, they'll start to fill up. But as well, if you don't get them, it's a permanent place for them to live, where you might stumble across them. And as well, we've looked for a new place for Monzo Plus right here at the top of this album view, right underneath your profile, because this is something that applies to all of Monzo. And it's really satisfying when you get it. You've got your little badge right here at the top of this. And this is something that could be more of a level 2. So if you want to switch energy, we can have this space right at the top of the feed that we can use, and that translates to the album view as well. So you see, oh, okay, I've got a message about switching energy, and that's a great place that we can use to talk about different features. And this is an example of a really loud message. We can use one of these cards to actually talk about new features, such as energy switching, or maybe you're saving up for a car and want to get a loan. We could talk about something like that. And as well, if we've seen, oh, okay, someone's just bought a flight, then we could also use this space to talk about, oh, okay, do you want to create a savings pot for your holiday? There's endless opportunities for how different teams could use this to talk about features that we have, and we're really excited about it. So I'm going to hand over to Bruno, who's going to talk a bit more about our approach.
Thank you. So looking what we have done over the past few months and what our next steps are, our process so far has been really guided by the fact we are doing this while 15 product teams are working on the same apps, shipping weekly releases across 2 platforms. So there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong there. And on the flip side, there's also 2 million people using the Monzo app and relying on the Monzo app on a daily basis to manage their money. So with the changes that we want to bring to the product, which are quite significant, we have from the start been very, very, very mindful that we need to be careful with both the internal development that's happening at the same time, and both of our customers. So we've been having 2 guiding principles within our team. The first one is to validate that this is the right direction. And bear in mind, when we started this project, when we started designing some of the concepts that Beth has showed you today, we really designed that out of design principles and product vision. We could have gone many different directions, and we chose to go this one. So we need to validate that this is actually the right thing to pursue. From a prioritization perspective, what this means is we didn't build anything that we were going to learn from it very quickly. What we have been focusing on is really, really, really quickly hack together in the most crude way what is something that we can experience on our phones to represent the mechanical components of the navigation. How can you go from this photo, this album, how can you really easily switch your account, change the view, and access different features? These are the things that we have been building with highest priority in the past few months in the most incredible, I cannot stress this as much, like parts of the app are just glued together with toothpicks and elastic bands. So if you change a label somewhere, the whole app melts to the other side. And this is very much intentional. On the other side, we want to make sure that we do not harm the business. There is no point in heading the right direction if we're not sure if this is actually going to completely tank the company. So this applies across many different dimensions. For example, we monitor very specific core business metrics that we want to make sure we don't make worse. We don't need to necessarily make them 10 times better, but we cannot harm them. And these are things like how many people, how many golden tickets are customers sending out to friends? What's their average balance? Are they signing up for overdrafts and loans and all of these things that just indicate the health of usage of the Monzo product? So we want to make sure that that's fine. On the other side, we also want to make sure that if we roll this out to everyone, that product teams could work on top of the new code base. So as I mentioned, right now, we're definitely not there. There's a lot of things that we need to improve to get before we can give this code base to other teams at Monzo. As I mentioned before, we have been working on this very isolated within our team. So we need to do a bunch of work there to gain confidence on that level. And ultimately, when we release this to customers, even if it is the most amazing navigation, if it's a tremendously wonderful experience, the process of upgrading 2 million plus people to this, it's really important. And we're working very, very closely with product marketing to make sure that customers understand why we made some of these changes, how the new account works, and just that they feel that they have had an upgraded experience. So these are two of the guiding principles, and we've been trying over the past 3 months to gain confidence on these two levels. This is how it has been looking from a customer rollout perspective. So we started in April. We built a version of the app, heavily feature flagged, only available to our team. And we started getting some feedback from it, from ourselves, and just to using it on a daily basis. Afterwards, we gave it to the rest of staff, which is roughly 1,000 people. So that's a lot of people to get feedback from, which is great. And we learned a lot from that. And then after a few iterations, we gave it to the community members, which I believe a lot of you are here today. So thank you for that. This was the first kind of qualitative validation that we did. Then we've made a few tweaks, and we wanted to roll this out to more people. So for the first time, we gave it to people that had never signed up for this. So new customers, they joined Monzo, they didn't know what the Monzo app looked like, or at least they never used it themselves. And we just enabled it for them from the beginning. This was roughly 8,000 people. This was a tremendous learning opportunity for us, and we got really good quantitative feedback and qualitative feedback. This was set up as a proper A/B test that we were looking to a statistical difference on these core metrics that we mentioned earlier, we were monitoring, and also the qualitative feedback. So one of the biggest learnings was that customers were basically saying, I can't use this new navigation because it's not allowing me to do X, Y, Z. The biggest things that we couldn't deliver in the first version here were thankfully things we had thought about, but we had not built those iterations. So things like swiping between your different accounts, really seamlessly going to this album view and back to this photo view. All of this was not implemented at that time. And the feedback was, I can't find my joint account, it's a pain in the bum, or I can't see my pots, I don't know how much money I have in total. And we're like, okay, fine, we won't learn anything new until we pass this hurdle. So what we did was, we went on this massive sprint, and the whole team pulled together to try to bring the app to this state where we could fully validate the new navigation components. We reached that milestone last week, and we started giving it to new customers again, which was an incredibly happy moment for the team. So the previous experiment we started, we resumed that. So new customers are again getting this new navigation. And we, for the first time, started moving existing customers to this new navigation as a separate experiment, again, to seek qualitative feedback, to see if our customers just walking away and saying that they hate the new design. We expect some resistance to the change, but we need to be really confident about what's the cost of upgrading everyone to this new design. Right now, there's roughly 20,000 people using the new navigation. We want to increase this in the next few weeks. And as soon as we have enough confidence that this is both the right direction and that this does not harm the business, we want to enable this for everyone. This will also be a big challenge from an operational perspective, so we need to be very careful with that. But this is just the beginning. There's so much that we want to bring in the future. We haven't even showed you anything today about budgeting, but we think that instead of trying to build the complete new navigation experience, we were just wanting to focus on what is the minimum thing that we can give to customers. And we want to get that really, really, really quickly. After that, we expect this structure to live for the next few years. And as soon as we roll this out to everyone, other teams can take advantage of these new spaces and help drive the product forward. So we can be much quicker at working on this new code base. Of course, it's very easy for Beth and I to come here and talk about these things, but it goes without saying that this has been a tremendous, tremendous effort from this group of people that have been working really hard in the product platform team to give this to everyone. So yeah, I'm really, really happy to be working with them and really proud to have them in my team. And finally, if you want to get it today, you actually can get it. We've shipped this to Monzo Labs last week, so all of you can start using it now. If you don't see it there yet, it's because you probably have a joint account or a business account. Wait a few more days. We are rolling out an update very, very quickly for you. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There you go.